Hello, welcome to the third reel. I'm your co-host Patrick. This is your co-host Petter.
Hello.
And our guest on this episode is Steven.
Hi there.
Today's film is Avengers Endgame. So, this is kind of the end of the first part of a very long franchise. A superhero franchise. So I kind of want to know, and I'm sure the listening audience wants to know, where do you guys get introduced to the superhero genre in film?
Ooh, I like that question. For me, I actually didn't get introduced until I was quite late, I think, into it. I had seen like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films and whatnot, but hadn't really gotten too into them as a young kid. It wasn't until I was introduced to the X-Men films when I was 18, I think, that I actually got into the superhero genre. I was quite late to the show. And like shortly after that, I also got into the MCU. So also around the time when I was like 18 or so. But yeah, I was quite late to it. And
What was your first MCU film?
Well, I had seen like Thor 1, I think, before I got like into it, like at age 18, 19. So I think Thor was the first one I actually saw, but it was with like,
Was that the first one you saw in theaters?
I didn't see it in theaters.
Okay.
I didn't see, actually the first MCU film I saw in theaters was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh, nice.
That's a good one.
So I guess that's where I definitely got into the MCU, and like I guess grasped that it was actually a big universe. I didn't know really until that point. So yeah, I was quite late.
So what about you, Steven? What was your introduction to the superhero film genre in the MCU?
My earliest memory of watching comic book movies was actually the first Iron Man in theaters. I was 10 years old when the MCU started. So, and I basically, half of my life has been with these movies. I think after I watched Iron Man, I went back and watched X-Men 1 and X2. I didn't watch the Spider-Man, the Raimi Spider-Man movies until much later, to be honest with you. But my start with comic book movies was the first Iron Man.
Good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
guess my first memories for superhero films would be the Fox's X-Men films and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films. I remember. I can't recall if I saw them in theaters, but I definitely remember renting the VHSs when those were a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had VHSs for a while.
Yeah. And then my introduction to the MCU wasn't actually Iron Man, although I had been interested in kind of lesser to Iron Man, but I'd been more interested in the new Hulk film they were making.
Ooh.
Because I loved Ang Lee's Hulk. I mean, now I don't love it as much, but I still appreciate it.
Yeah,
but
you don't think it aged pretty well?
No, it didn't age very well at all.
The only thing,
I haven't seen it in
whenever
a long
I think
time.
whenever I think of that Eric Bana Hulk film, like the only thing that comes to mind is just an ugly Hulk jumping through like a canyon or something. Like that's all I can envision thinking about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of deeper, like, philosophical and psychological, like, leanings for that film. But it kind of didn't work for what was supposed to be a big summer blockbuster.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's a shame.
Yeah, and it was their second movie, so they were still trying to get their footing.
Oh, but well, maybe we're talking about different Hulk films now.
Oh, never mind. Yeah. I apologize.
No, it's all right.
Yeah. But I guess back to the topic you're talking about.
Yes.
The Incredible Hulk was something I was really excited for. I wouldn't say I was let down, but it was kind of a mediocre reaction for me for the film.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think, like, for me, that film kind of falls apart as soon as Abomination appears, kind of, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all right.
And then, of course, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with the MCU. I guess it wouldn't be so much hate, just kind of I fall in love with it at some points, and then I'm disinterested in it at other points.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have at least liked the vast majority of MCU movies. There are only 3 that I can think of that I would say I disliked.
Yeah.
I don't think I outright dislike any, actually.
I wouldn't say any of them are, like, really bad, but I think the bottom ones I think are just middle of the road as overall movie terms would go.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
My least favorite from the movies I've seen, I haven't seen Thor: The Dark World or Iron Man 3.
Oh.
But my least favorite would probably be Iron Man 2. But mostly because I was so hyped for that movie that what ended up happening in it kind of disappointed me.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Yeah, because you would have expectations after the first one for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, you don't need to watch Thor 2 though. you can safely skip that one.
I should get around to watching Iron Man 3 at some point because I have heard
it's pretty good
from some people at least. So
it's pretty good.
It's entertaining enough, and honestly, I don't think Thor: The Dark World is bad. You know, it's got some very fun / entertaining scenes, I think. Even though as a whole it's definitely not, you know, on the same class as the others, but at least since that film, the MCU has been doing very, very well. I guess Captain Marvel was a little bit of a dip, but
I would agree
a little bit. I mean, I would sort of argue that Captain Marvel was a good film, but definitely not as quality as the prior films before it.
Right.
I think as I wrote my list, I think it was like last week before I watched Endgame. I think Captain Marvel was in my bottom 4. And I don't think I told this to either of you, but I think Captain Marvel is a little bit out of its time, because to me it feels like a MCU origin movie. And we've moved beyond those by now.
Yeah, definitely.
That's fair. Although I'm a sucker for origin movies, I'm not gonna lie. I really am.
I like origin movies too, but it does really feel very odd, the timing of it.
It's true. I mean, yeah, it is set in a very removed time era. Because honestly, up until, or I guess, not counting Captain America, the original one, although even that one is technically set in more or less the present day, with at least the frame story of it. You know, the first and last scenes are still. Whereas Captain Marvel, basically all of it is just completely removed from present day, which none of the other films really are.
And now we're kind of catching up to where we're at. Let's talk about Avengers Infinity War a little bit. What were your reactions to that film?
I really liked it.
Yes, I definitely also liked it, and it kind of went where I was expecting it to. The snap, I knew it would happen.
Probably my favorite part of the film, other than seeing Red Skull again.
Right, yeah, that was actually cool.
Too bad Hugo Weaving didn't want to do that, though.
Yeah.
Although
I think it was like Ross Marquand did it. I believe that's his name.
I see.
I'm probably way off with it, but yeah.
I don't remember offhand.
I didn't like. It didn't feel like a new. It didn't feel like a recast necessarily.
Yeah, it was a very good impersonation.
Yes,
at the very least.
So that was good.
So yeah,
and great film. I don't know much more what more to say really.
I think as its standalone portions, I think the pacing was a little bit off, personally. And part of that has to do with when Thor and the rabbit go to the forge. Because I think they spent a little bit too much time there on screen.
Yeah.
But that's just me personally.
I don't think I agree with it, but I see what you mean. I definitely do. But one thing I'm really happy that they did with Infinity War was to actually give us an MCU film that doesn't end with a victory for the good guys. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
I really enjoyed that.
That was very cool.
And I'm under the opinion that as a film, I think Thanos was the quote-unquote protagonist of the movie. Because he was the person who was trying to achieve the goal in the movie, and he did.
He did.
You know, he got all the stones, and that was what the movie was fundamentally about.
Yep.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
And by that, and like by extension, you could also, in a way, consider Thor the antagonist. And I guess all the others, but Thor in particular.
The movie started with Thor, and it ended with Thor.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he very much fills that role in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas, because that's also one thing. Like Thanos goes through this massive journey to get his hands on all 6 of the stones. He really, puts in a lot of time and effort into that.
Yeah.
Really, really works his ass off. Meanwhile, Thor, he just he goes to a forge and gets a weapon that pretty much matches Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet with all the 6 stones in a way. At least when Thor is attacking him. Like, that very much feels like a villain thing to do. Like, just like out of nowhere, just comes with this super powerful weapon in a way. I don't know.
Yeah. And now that we've kind of ruined the ending of that movie.
Well, I mean, it's been out on DVD for a while. We're fine.
Well, where I'm going with this is, with the ending of one movie comes the beginning of another.
Very much so.
Okay, so do we want to say right now, if you have not seen Endgame, probably don't continue with this?
Yeah, this would definitely be the time to stop listening, go watch Endgame, come back, listen to some more.
Because we are going to go deep into Endgame now, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers will be safe, so...
All right.
We have warned you.
Spoiler warning is initiated now.
Yep.
Well, so 22 days after the end of Infinity War, we pick back up. Or actually,
22 days,
we don't. Actually, we pick up right as the snapping happens.
Yeah, we literally pick up at the end of the last film.
We do. But then there's a little gap after that.
From a very different perspective.
Yes.
We get to see Hawkeye and his family again, and it's adorable. And then his family just goes
I was
to dust.
talking with Petter and a couple of my other friends. I'm like, man, if this movie starts with Hawkeye losing his family...
And when Steven said that, I had already watched the film, and I was just sitting there like... well, I was quiet, but inside my head I was laughing. Or I was also crying, but that's besides the point.
But as sad as it made me, it made me one of my favorite beginnings to any of the MCU films.
Yes, I agree. It was lovely. It was so powerful. And it was so cute, so funny. Like, it was like at the beginning, like it's just so nice to see it like that.
Yeah.
And then just when they all dust away, it just hits you even harder. Like, oh wow. And like at the same time though, I'm sure we all saw that coming. Like we, getting that scene, we knew it was gonna happen pretty much.
One thing that I wish that they did do, but they didn't, is in Infinity War, when each person, or when some of the more key characters dusted, they had like a small interaction with other characters. His family just, at the snap of a finger, just all dusted at once and didn't interact with Clint at all.
Yeah, he didn't have time to.
Which I thought was a little disappointing.
Well, it's also the shock of it, I think, because like just him feeling so alone all of a sudden, like he doesn't even notice that they leave. That's kind of like that's something I appreciated with it. Because he just...
Yeah, I appreciated that a lot also.
Because when he runs out like on the grass field, he's just like shouting their names, and like he's in despair. He's so lonely, you know. Mm-hmm. That was just...
Which helps explain why he would take the actions he takes later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh boy, man! Just thinking about it just gives me like a bad feeling in my stomach somehow.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, then there's a 22-day gap, if I recall.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I think so.
And I think I remember that it's 22. If I'm correct about that, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was 22 because this is the 22nd MCU film, or at least
Coincidence?
was
I think that's just a coincidence.
maybe
in the
just a
script.
coincidence.
But
And maybe it wasn't even 22, but I think it was. Anyway, moving on.
yeah.
Tony Stark, Lost in Space.
yeah.
Oh, man, I'm so like we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about what happens to Iron Man later, but that scene when he's on the ship with like they started it with him playing like flicking a piece of foil in the field goal made with the hands. That was a very light scene, and then all of a sudden
With Nebula, yeah.
cut to the speech at the beginning or message for Pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I legitimately thought he was going to die when Nebula propped him up on the chair.
I had the feeling too. I wasn't sure, but I was crossing my fingers for him not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Captain Marvel saves him. Another nitpick I have about the movie is Captain Marvel did not have a conversation or interaction with him before she brought him home on screen. What do you guys think about that?
I have a similar nitpick, but not the same one exactly. I just wish we would have seen more of an introduction to her in general. Not necessarily there, but at least maybe afterward or before. Maybe not before, because then it wouldn't have been a surprise to see her there. But afterward, at least. Because, I don't know, like just
Brie
all of a
Larson
sudden
didn't
she's
even
there.
say
Like,
anything.
suddenly she's part of the team. Like, whoop-de-doo. Like, I don't know. It was a little bit too fast, I think, right there with her.
You kind of have to put two and two together because of the end credit scene of Captain Marvel, but
Exactly. But still, I don't think we
still,
should
she didn't say much.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, we're here now, but I guess if we're trying to go in line with the movie, what did you guys think with the conversation, like the desperation of all these characters as they find out that Thanos used the Infinity Stones again?
Oh, like when they got the reading
Just that
from
whole
Titan
conversation
2?
meeting at the building, yeah. I really liked Tony Stark's little breakdown that he had with Captain America.
Right, yeah, it made sense, I guess. And it does make sense. And it was very dramatic. Like, I feel, I don't know, the MCU doesn't get that dramatic in that kind of way too much.
No.
Yeah, it was very much this kind of very his heart on his sleeve, kind of explaining, kind of wanting to just find something to be angry at, and Cap was just there to be angry at.
Right, yeah, he was an easy one to take his anger out on.
Yeah.
Man.
And of course, I think as I was watching the movie again yesterday, I caught one of the lines in the scene where Tony's just like, "Where were you?" Because obviously Tony does not know that Steve was helping Wanda and Vision in Infinity War in a different country, right?
Yeah.
So, and plus he didn't even use the cell phone, which is another little nitpick I have about Infinity War and how it ties into Endgame is, why didn't you just use the cell phone to call him? But
Well, he was going to, but then then New York was attacked right as he was going to, so we didn't really get the chance. But then, of course, Bruce Banner called him instead.
Of inconsistency, because why would Tony be so gung ho about Steve not being there to help when he was the one who didn't make the phone call?
That's right. Okay, that's a fair point. Mm-hmm. But he
but
had been lost in space for like almost a month.
Yeah,
like cut
true.
him some slack.
like he did, you know, get broken down being alone with Nebula for that long, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean that will take a toll on anyone, I'm sure.
Yep.
yeah.
By the way, the music that was playing during the Marvel logo showing, like basically between the Hawkeye scene and the Tony Stark and Nebula scene,
Yeah.
the music playing was "Dear Mr. Fantasy" by Traffic. It's from like 1967. An amazing song that
Right.
I thought just fits so well, and I've been listening to it a lot lately. Well, I've been listening to the general like original soundtrack as well, but also that song and that album and as a whole. But it was just really neat, I thought.
The music in general for this film was really good.
Oh yes.
Which
oh
is-
yes.
They really harken back to a lot of the themes of previous movies, with like the Captain America theme, even some of the Captain Marvel theme.
Right. Yeah, they did have the Captain Marvel theme, and it's also cool because it was Alan Silvestri who composed this soundtrack,
Yeah.
and he also composed the first Captain America film, and also the
Yeah.
first Avengers, as well as these two, Infinity War and Endgame. I
Yeah.
think those are all of the MCU films he has made the soundtrack for. And
Yeah.
so it's fitting, like, because I also noticed a lot of the little hints in a way to the Captain America to the Captain America theme from the first film, which was really nice because there hadn't been too much of that in the previous films. Like, it wasn't until Alan Silvestri returned to do music for the MCU that he kind of put that in a little here and there where it fitted.
Yeah, like reincorporated other themes from other movies.
Right. Yeah, that as well. So that was very nice. Like, I listened to that to the original soundtrack like all of yesterday and the day before. Like, it's been and like I've been even like
It's very
as
good.
I'm listening to the music, I'm like reliving the scenes in my head, and like I'm because I was listening in my headphones as I was walking like downtown today, and I actually like got like watery eyes just like remembering what happened when that music was playing. Like, I felt so silly.
That's what
But-
a good soundtrack does, really.
A good movie
Yeah.
and a good soundtrack. Yeah. Oh
Good
boy.
soundtrack will stay with you even after you've watched the movie and you listen to it again. You'll envision all of the stuff that happened in the movie all over again.
Yeah, and it affects me almost to the same extent as the film itself does, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Very well. I guess they go to fight Thanos. If we're going through the film slowly but steadily.
Yeah. They go and quote unquote fight Thanos. It's not much of a fight.
No.
Yeah.
And they find out that Thanos had used the Infinity Stones to destroy the Infinity Stones.
Darn.
Yeah. Which I think was a very clever way of of putting an obstacle in front of our heroes.
Oh,
that
definitely.
we wouldn't have expected.
Yes. Oh, yes. Like, there was a lot of unexpected things right here in this scene, and to me anyway.
Because now I'm actually trying to think of a scenario where what if they didn't do time travel? Because we all knew that they were, and obviously they couldn't get everyone back without the stones.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, where would the movie have gone without time travel?
Where would the movie have gone if that rat hadn't pressed those buttons?
that as well.
That too, but I'm sure we'll get into that whole scene later.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
And Thor finally going for the head. Very
Yeah.
Yes.
Thor had enough of that conversation, and
Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos first gets his arm chopped off, and then his head. Like, what a day!
yeah.
Almost feel sorry for the guy.
And then
And then
Rocket's
the-
just like, "What did you do?" And then Thor's
I
like,
think everyone was asking him that question at that point, like watching the film. Like, what did you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
And as it kind of fades to black after that, like toward the end of that scene, like part of me was almost like, did the film end? Like, I almost was like, is this a joke? Have they just been saying it's 3 hours long and it's actually just like 10 or 15 minutes? Like, wouldn't that be a trolling move?
Were so many people like used to make this movie? There's like 2.5 hours of credits.
Right.
Those would be slow credits.
Damn. And then like 5 years later.
Yeah.
Yes, 5 years later, and Cap's talking to some people.
Yes.
And one of those people was one of the directors of the film. I can't remember which one it was, but
I don't know which is which actually, but yeah.
I think it was Joe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Joe.
It was.
He played the.
Sorry, you go.
He played the guy who was basically grieving and trying to move on and go on dates with another man, which is interesting. The first kind of homosexuality that's mentioned in the MCU.
Exactly.
I believe.
I'm pretty sure so as well. At least I can't think of any other. And also, as far I don't know which of the directors, but I know it's the other one that wasn't playing the Shield doctor helping Nick Fury in the Winter Soldier.
I think Joe did both.
I thought it was one was in the first one and one was in the other, or am I mistaken there?
I believe Joe's been in a lot of the movies they've made, so it was probably Joe Russo.
I thought they had like one appearance each in that regard, but I guess not. But it's also a nice callback to what Sam Wilson used to do, also in The Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
Falcon having similar kind of like meetings
like
with people.
Like with veterans,
helping them move on and like getting through issues and traumas.
Yeah. A lot of great callbacks in this movie.
Oh, there's a ton. You really have to have seen every single MCU film, I think, to really understand every single callback, every single reference.
Yeah,
I think.
I think you might, except for that kid at the end. I think you might have gone without Iron Man 3.
But because he's there, you have to have seen Iron Man 3 too.
Yeah, but even then, it was like, who's this kid?
Guys, I hadn't seen Iron Man 3 and I was completely confused. I was like, why is the camera like looking at this kid? Who is this kid?
And honestly, I didn't even think he was worthy of being there personally. Like, such a...
It was very random.
Kind of was. But what the hell?
Yeah, we're kind of going to the end of the movie. We should probably come back a bit.
Right. I mean, anyone listening now that knows what we're talking about anyway, so it's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll keep our. We'll wait a bit until we get there.
So, how much? What do you guys think of Ant-Man kind of having more of a role in this Avengers film?
I was very happy about that, especially since he had nothing at all in Infinity War. I was very happy to see him playing a more major role. He still didn't take over, you know. It was still very much
definitely not.
The film still belonged to the 6 original Avengers. Yeah. But I'm very happy with the size role he had. I thought it was perfect. Ant-Man.
I didn't hear Ant-Man. Okay, yeah. I was happy with his amount in this movie.
Yeah.
He definitely had a good introduction, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like 5 hours later for him, but it's been 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was kind of nice to see him meet his daughter when she's older.
Yeah, and actually I thought that was really good casting. Because I could totally buy that older actress being the grown-up Cassie. Like, I definitely could buy that. Although she looks a little older than I would have expected her to after 5 years. But, I don't know.
Yeah. I think the same, honestly.
I guess, I mean, yeah. It's not too big of an issue. I mean, and it might not even be an issue.
It's a very minor nitpick.
Definitely, absolutely.
It's definitely a nitpick.
Oh, certainly.
At the very least.
So here he goes to the building after he talks with Cassie.
Yeah, we got a little scene with Captain America actually we got Black Widow talking to the other people through the hologram thing.
Mm-hmm. Black Widow is kind of making this final stand with these people, with the rest of some of the Avengers. And she's she desperately wants to kind of bring things back to the way they were. Mm-hmm. And Steve comes in, who had just been telling people to move on.
Yeah.
And
the key conversation in that group was with Black Widow and War Machine, because she wants, because apparently he's been trying to track down Clint,
right?
And she just tells him, please let me know where he is.
Yeah, it's nice to see how that relationship has kind of evolved from the very first movie when they were still very close.
Exactly, together. They were always close, but exactly. It's always.
But they've gotten kind of further and further away, and it's nice to see them kind of come back together again.
Very much so, definitely.
So after the interaction with Captain America, Ant-Man goes to the front door.
Yeah, knock, knock, knock.
Yep. And he enters and basically says, have you studied quantum physics?
Yes.
And from there we start to reassemble our heroes.
Yeah, and I think there's a really funny reference, I thought, in that scene where Ant-Man comes in and suggests they do time travel, where they say, or I don't know if it's Natasha or if it's Steve who says it, but they say like, oh, so it's a time machine, and he's like, no, it's more like a time machine, like, but it's a really nice callback, I think, to Ant-Man and the Wasp with the truth serum, where the guy who made the truth serum denies that it's a truth serum until the very end. But yeah, just one of those little things.
I'll say I did not. You catch a lot of the very small details. I did not catch that.
Oh, we did talk about another thing.
Catch that either.
Right, but yeah, we'll get to that later. But
so
yes,
the first stop is with Tony in his little house in the forest.
So cute.
Oh my gosh.
So cute.
Yes.
I want to be his daughter.
Okay.
That was so precious.
That was a very good scene.
Oh yes. And yeah,
Tony Stark, will you be my father?
Right. Because I think it's usually a little bit of a risk having child actors in films, because I mean it's hard, I reckon, to find believable ones that can actually do a good job. But I think this little girl did a very good job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
And basically what comes out of this scene is Tony doesn't really want to help them, so they go their separate ways. But and then I guess before we talk about Tony, let's talk about another character that we've kind of mentioned from other films earlier, Hulk.
Yes.
What do you think about Hulk's appearance in this movie?
Professor Hulk. I was so glad, because I don't know if I really wanted that specifically, but as soon as I saw it, I knew it was a good thing to do. I knew I was happy with it.
Yeah.
Here's what I wanted them to do, and I know that I'm not the only person who thought the Russo brothers should do this. I wanted Hulk rage. We didn't really get that in this movie.
But we wouldn't. With Professor Hulk, we really couldn't really, though, right?
Right, but I going into the film, that's what I wanted, but as soon as we had Professor Hulk, I knew that was not going to happen for us.
We did get to see a little bit of it, later on. We got to see some pure Hulk rage in New York.
Well, I mean,
no,
I guess
but we'll go into that.
Jumping on the car and fun times. Anyway, I thought it was great. I thought it was a super funny scene, like when the three kids come up to him and and then Ant-Man asks if they want to take a picture with him. Oh boy,
yeah, that's great.
Whew.
And of course, the other character that had a major change,
Ronan,
is Thor.
Oh, sorry, Thor. Yes.
Yes, Thor. Fat Thor.
Molten ice cream Thor.
Yes.
You look like melted ice cream.
Oh boy, yeah, that was a big surprise. That was probably the biggest like change to a character surprise, in my opinion. Like,
definitely.
boy, I did not see that coming.
I appreciate it, honestly. Like, how how would he take this loss?
Right.
A lot of beer. So.
Yeah. Yep. I like the line from Valkyrie. He only comes down here once a month when he needs supplies.
Right.
And the camera pants the cakes.
Yes. Oh dear. Yeah.
That's great.
That is a great scene as well.
Yeah.
And having Korg there as well, of course, makes it very funny.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like,
I was convinced we'd never see Corey again.
I was theorizing that he survived, because my thought of the first scene of Infinity War is, all right, Valkyrie, Korg, and Meek survived because they left on the ship before that scene officially started.
Oh yeah. I think if Taika Waititi ever ends up doing another Thor film, which I don't think would be impossible, then I'm sure he would bring Korg in for at least like somewhat of a role.
Oh, I'm sure he would play that character again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that scene, of course, ends with, well, there's beer on the ship. Rocket says.
Yes.
And then Thor's like, what kind?
Rocket. I love that character so much.
Right. I'm really happy he got as pretty much the only true Guardians of the Galaxy member that he really got to shine in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
And then we soon find out that Tony Stark has decided to work on this time machine.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
And he's figured it out, as we see this other scene of the other Avengers trying to put Ant-Man through time. And time goes through Ant-Man, not the other way around.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah. I like how Hulk is just like, time travel.
Right.
And then I think it was Steve who's like, not really. And then he's like, well, I think it's a win. I think overall.
Yeah, it's an absolute win. I see this as an absolute win. Oh my god. Like, someone in Pee My Pants, I don't know if it was young me or old me, or just me. Oh dear. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh too much right now.
And then when Tony comes later, he's just like, he turned into a baby, right? Yeah.
It's also a little weird to me. Like, one thing that I don't know, might not be completely realistic, is that Tony basically invents flawless time travel overnight.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I know he's a genius. He's super smart and all, but I don't know.
Yeah. I still think that's a bit... It's kind of like a movie excuse where to move the plot along and keep this pace, they had to do it that way.
Yeah. Would have been a different thing if he had been working on this during the whole 5-year gap or something like that. I don't know.
But to be fair, he built an Iron Man suit in the middle of the Middle East somewhere.
Out of a box of scraps.
Out of a box of scraps. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the MCU has been full of conveniences.
That is true.
Yeah.
So.
You're right. I'm not going to argue with that. But yeah, and then we, before we move on too much with the time travel experiments, I think they give us the Tokyo scene.
Oh yes,
Right.
which Tokyo scene.
Which I think is the first actual action scene in the film.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah.
And I also noticed that whole action sword duel between Hawkeye, or between Ronan and the other guy, is shot in one take, or at least they make it look like it, which was very cool.
It is. I caught that in my second viewing. It is.
Right. Yeah, I caught it on my second viewing as well, and then I kind of confirmed it on my third viewing. Anyway, but yeah, I thought that was super
very cool for them to use, because it wasn't just the duel; it was the setup for it as well.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. I loved that bit. And then of course Natasha comes and brings Clint back with her.
Yeah.
And that look of despair on his face
Yeah.
as he turns around to look at her.
Yeah, and like speaking of Hawkeye or Clint Barton, like how, like, what did you guys think of his character before this film came out? Like, how did you like his character?
Not
I mean,
great, personally.
for the little we got of him, I really enjoyed it. But I mean, there's only so much enjoyment to be brought from like 5 minutes total of screen time throughout like most of the movies.
Right.
Avengers 2 was his moment to shine beforehand.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that was his biggest one before this film, definitely. And I agree with you, Patrick. I definitely always liked the character. He was very, like, with what he was given and the time he had, I definitely always liked the bits he had.
Yeah.
But of course, this film brings it to a completely new level, and I was just so happy that he really, really got to shine in this film. So glad about that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then from that scene, we kind of move on to the time travel. What did you guys think of time travel being brought into the MCU?
I was super skeptic. I gotta start with that. I was super skeptic at first. I think we all kind of knew, or like that it would in some way be incorporated into this story of this film. And I was very, very skeptic because I don't know, time travel in fiction is not always done super well, and sometimes it feels kind of shoehorned in or like I don't know. But I actually thought it worked very well. Not perfectly,
and especially,
but it worked well.
And especially the idea of sending them to different times was very creative on the writer's part. Because I don't think we've really seen like a group of people being sent to several different times to do one task.
Oh yes. I think that you're right.
So.
That was cool, definitely.
What was your favorite period?
Out of the 3 or 4, well, 3 periods. Yeah.
Well, there were 4 because they went to the 70s also. Cap and
true.
Tony.
Right.
That is true. I forgot about that one. Man.
I think I like the Avengers in New York the best.
I think I like the 70s theme the best because we got to see Tony Stark interact with Howard Stark, and we hadn't really been able to see that at all because of obvious reasons.
Well, yes. That was wonderful. I really thought that was really, really great. And as for my answer to that, I think I'm torn between the 2 ones that you 2 mentioned, like the Avengers New York bit or the 70s. I think those 2 were definitely the 2 strongest. I think the Thor bit, Thor 2 bit was probably, well, it was very cool. I thought it was awesome that Thor got to say, in a way, say goodbye to his mother and have a little moment with her. I honestly, I think Frigga, I think she had a bigger role in this film than she had in either of the first 2 Thor films, honestly. With that, just what she had with Thor there. But I don't know. I thought that was kind of short compared to some of the others, anyway. Yeah.
And then the other scene was the basically beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that was so fun.
So he's an idiot then.
Yes, and she just looks down like, yes. Oh.
I mean, we don't need to go too in depth of all of these because there's just so much to talk about and touch on.
Yeah.
But my personal favorite interaction was the fight between the 2 Captain Americas.
Oh yes.
And then it ends. It's like I could do this all day. I know.
Yeah. that was a great one. That is America's ass.
Indeed.
I love that.
I love it too. So
because ever since I first saw that Avengers costume, and even within the Avengers movie, for Captain America. I absolutely despise that costume.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of dumb, but it's like it fits with the context, but it's definitely dumb.
Yeah.
I think there in this hour there's a whole bunch of plot holes. One of the ones that I tried to resolve on my second viewing was the two Nebula situation. I don't know. I still don't like the way that they handled that.
In what way do you view that as a plot hole?
How do they have? How does Thanos and the past Nebula have the current Nebula's memories?
Well, from what I understand, she's basically like a computer, and she is basically on the same wavelength as she would be, so they're able to like communicate with each other in a way, but not like literally communicate with each other, but they're. It's like when you're on the same network at home as somebody else, you can technically see what the other person is viewing.
Exactly. I think they even used the word network, that they share the same network. So it's explained, and I buy it. I think it makes sense.
I still
personally.
don't buy it. Maybe on my third and fourth viewing it'll work, but right now I don't buy it.
Well, that's fair. Well, and also, like, because it's been established since I think Guardians 2 that each time she fought and lost to Gamora, Thanos replaced a part of her with machinery. So she's got a lot of different, perks, quote unquote, from that, I guess.
Yeah.
One of them being like a network of sorts, like a computer thing inside of her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it makes sense personally. I have other plot hole thoughts, but we'll get to those later. But this is not one of them to me.
And the last one in the movie, and the last one we should probably talk about, is the one on Vormir.
Yes. I gotta say, right off the bat, that was my favorite scene in the film. The Vormir scene.
Really?
It was without a doubt my favorite scene. It had everything I really it was exactly what it was supposed to be. It did not disappoint whatsoever. It had the drama, it had the conflict, and like the oh my god, and then the emotional hell at the end.
Yeah, I just like the resolution to that scene when Clint comes back with everybody else, and Hulk's like, "Where's Nat?" And then he just has this look of despair on his face.
Yeah, he doesn't have to say anything. They know.
And the next scene, he's just like, "It cannot be undone. It can't be reversed." And then I don't remember who talks to him or who rebuttals. And he's like, "You go and talk to him. You go and talk to that guy over there. And you see what you can do about it."
Yeah, Thor. He says it to Thor. He tells Thor to take his hammer and just fly over there. And man, that is so sad.
Man, Jeremy Renner is so good in this movie.
He really is. He's a fantastic actor. It's a shame they didn't use him more until now,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I'm excited because apparently he's getting a show on Disney Plus.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
As Clint Barton?
Yeah, as Clint Barton.
Yes.
Really?
From what I've heard, the idea is he's going to be training the character of Kate Bishop.
Oh my god! How have I not heard of this? Is it true? Are you pulling my leg?
I'm not pulling your leg.
I have not seen anything on Marvel.com or anything like that, but I will.
That would make me so happy. Oh my god, that because out of the other announced MCU shows, this idea has me without a doubt the most excited.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know of it.
So apparently it is a thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I can't. I need to swallow my excitement a little bit now. I'll leave it for later. All right.
Yeah.
And then they got all the stones. They're back to the present, which is 2023. So it's technically the future for us. But anyway, they got the stones, and they got a snap. And by the way, I just love how Tony was just able to make an Infinity Gauntlet himself.
Like
Of course, he would be able to do that.
Another convenience of the plot, but
yeah.
And
finally,
can wear it because it's nanotech, which means it can adjust to the size of the arm.
Precisely, it fit both Hulk and Thanos.
Yeah,
perfect. But I was gonna say, like, this is pretty much the only time since the first Avengers film when Banner has had use of his, I guess, gamma perks in a way.
Oh yeah,
because he was able to withstand that thanks to him, well, being the Hulk and having the gamma radiation.
Yeah,
right.
Which was neat because he was added to the team initially just because he was an expert on gamma radiation. That's the reason he was added, not because he was the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
And of course, he snaps his fingers, and then crazy stuff ensues.
Yes, everything is happening at once.
Everybody's back.
Everything following that moment is my favorite hour in the MCU.
I can
so
see
good.
why.
Yeah. It's definitely up there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's way up there somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where to begin.
Yeah, so much happens.
Much to unpack, yeah.
Like, for a movie that was very slow paced for like the first 2/3 of it, all of a sudden it just takes off.
Right.
This last
Yeah, because
act.
honestly, up until this very last act, there had been very, very little action scenes. Like the Ronin thing in Japan, and then maybe something was elsewhere. But I don't even know if there even was any, honestly, before or besides that one. So, and I thought it was a really nice change of pace for a film of this genre to have that small amount of action for like the first 2 hours of the film.
It was very somber.
Yeah, and I thought I love that.
Very, very somber.
Very nice. But that, of course, they make up for it with the final act.
Yep.
Boy.
So instead of, I guess, going beat for this final act, let's just describe our favorite scenes.
Right.
Okay.
You want to go first, Patrick?
Oh yeah. Cap finally picks up Malnor and beats the living shit out of Thanos.
Oh,
well,
that was
sort of.
I was
anyway.
orgasming all over that. Oh boy.
Yep. My crowd cheered through this entire sequence.
I'm pretty sure every crowd everywhere cheered for that scene.
Yeah, dude.
Well, not my second viewing, but yeah.
Yeah, you had a shitty second viewing.
Oh man, I'll have to talk about that with you, Patrick, after we're done. But
Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't my first.
But oh boy, and like just oh boy, because he really goes toe to toe with Thanos thanks to Mjolnir.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like
my
the
God.
small interaction with Thor. Here, you get the small one.
Oh yeah, later on there. Yeah. That's great.
That was great.
I love Thor's little like braided beard and like what that he got for the final battle.
Oh yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah, I mean that. It's like that's another nitpick you could make.
What's that?
Really, that all of a sudden his facial hair changes to a braided beard and.
Well, it's not strange. They established that kind of thing basically in the very first Thor film, where in the end, where he becomes worthy again and gets Mjolnir, suddenly he goes from having like t-shirt and jeans to having like his full-on Thor caped outfit.
True.
So that kind of like change in appearance has been a thing that he's had since earlier.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And of course, Captain America finally said the line.
Avengers Assemble.
Oh my god, I shed so many nerd tears when he like, oh my god, like everyone was coming through the portals, the music was escalating, just seeing everyone together, and Cap was there as Avengers, and I was like, oh okay, oh he's gonna say assemble. Oh my god, that was
that was
so
crazy.
And just like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, everybody was there.
Well, everyone except for like Vision.
Well, everybody who didn't die out, everybody who didn't die outside of the snap was there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, actually, Lady Sif, I don't think she was there. But who really cares?
I don't remember seeing the Warriors 3.
Yeah. Well, they were killed by Hela. They were killed by Hela.
Yeah.
But Lady Sif did not die in Thor Ragnarok. Well, she wasn't in it.
She wasn't even in that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think they've just forgotten about her.
It seems so, yeah. Ever since Thor the Dark World, she hasn't appeared at all. But, yeah. Something else. Well, we've mentioned Avengers Assemble. We've mentioned Captain America wielding Mjolnir. I think those are probably two of the bigger things until the very end, of course.
And then there was the whole women of the MCU moment as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, but it was kind of cringeworthy how it came to Scott.
I agree.
I don't think so.
I'm with Patrick on that, because it's like I like all respect and power and everything to women. Like, it's nothing like that. It's just like they kind of put a little bit too on the nose. Like,
no, I wouldn't even say on the nose. It's just like all of the women happen to be at the same like general area in this big battle.
I can agree.
That's fair. Yeah, because it's basically what that was the thing from Infinity War in the end with Wanda, Natasha and Okoye.
Natasha.
It's basically that times three or whatever. Like it's a little bigger version of that. Ultimately, but I have one other issue with that particular bit, and it's that Peter Parker gives the Infinity Gauntlet to Carol Danvers, who just proceeds to put it under her arm and just like flies in some direction. Why didn't she put that on and snap or something?
I don't know.
She definitely had time.
That's probably my biggest nitpick of this whole movie.
Because she would have absolutely been able to handle snapping that.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt.
I don't know.
I guess in the heat of the moment.
That's a good point I hadn't thought of before.
I suppose one excuse would be like it was a raging war around her. She maybe didn't think of it in the heat of the moment or something. I don't know. Yeah. But still.
Like what? Like she takes it from Peter and like she is going to use it.
But I guess the plan at that point is to get it to the van to kind of send it away, I think. Or is it?
Don't remember.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
Right. They're trying to get rid of the Infinity Gauntlet, I believe.
I think
they had already snapped everybody back, but they were trying to bring the Infinity Stones back to the realities that they belong to.
Precisely. Because they didn't want Thanos to get his hands on them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
True.
So I guess because that was the objective at the time, I guess it didn't cross their minds, maybe?
Yeah, I agree.
I could buy that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the final couple of confrontations with Thanos. We got some Captain Marvel action. And we get, of course, some Tony Stark action.
So, because most of us probably in the moment didn't think that Tony got all of the stones before Thanos snapped his fingers in the middle of his clunks.
Yeah.
that was nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That was absolutely nerve-wracking is the word for that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. But no, Tony got them.
But no,
and
Tony has the stones and he snaps fingers,
saying the iconic phrase,
"I am Iron Man."
Started the entire MCU to this point. Started with him and ended with him.
And also a very good rock song.
I do appreciate.
Down, 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 down. Okay. Sorry, I'm not going to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And that was his last, like chronologically, that was his last line in the movie.
Was it really, though? I wonder. Did he not say anything to Pepper? I think he said something.
He recorded the message beforehand.
Yes, but didn't he, as he was lying there, didn't he say anything to Pepper?
No.
No.
He didn't say anything.
Huh.
Nope.
I guess not. At least he looked more... He was more present, in a way, while she was standing there with him.
But Pepper Potts wasn't the only one with him.
No, of course.
Peter's reaction was really heartbreaking.
Oh, it was amazing.
Like, everything's going to be okay.
Right.
You're going to be okay, and
yeah,
he dies. And
I like Pepper's line, "You can rest now."
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that's a reference both to Iron Man 3, where Tony has some, PSD from... Wait. Post-traumatic stress disorder. that's the thing I'm trying to convey here. I'm sorry. From the Battle of New York, where he has trouble sleeping, and it's also a reference or a callback to the beginning of the same film, or of Endgame, where Pepper is saying something like, if Tony dumps this in the lake, would he be able to sleep? And that's what convinces him to join the other Avengers. And man, that was so good.
Mm-hmm.
And the music starts like playing as it changes to the next scene, and that music is such a beautiful melody, and just so well arranged, and just tears me up whenever I just listen to the song. And I start crying. And I also noticed on my I don't know if it was my second or third watch of the film, I noticed that the same melody is actually played during the scene where he's recording the message at the beginning of the film into the helmet. The same melody is played kind of like a little bit more discreetly, but it's there in the very beginning of the film as well.
Sadly, I could not catch that on my second viewing, but hopefully on my third or fourth I'll be able to.
Oh yeah.
And then we're at the funeral.
Yeah.
Did you also cry your heart out during that?
I cried my freaking eyes out with the cheeseburger line.
Yes. Oh my god.
Your daddy liked cheeseburgers.
Yeah. Like Jesus. Yes. Oh boy. Yeah, that one also got me so hard.
I wish I need more Jon Favreau in these movies, honestly.
He's so good. He was so cute with Morgan too. Like, so sweet. I look forward to seeing more of him in the upcoming Spider-Man film.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And oh boy, but yeah, shoo.
And then one other character has to have his story end also.
Yes, of course.
So they have to get the Infinity Stones back to the realities where they belong, the timelines they belong.
Mm-hmm.
So Captain America goes back in time and ends up staying back in time
and
to have a relationship with Peggy Carter.
Yeah, which is so beautiful. And he also leaves off Mjolnir. He doesn't just leave the stones. He also leaves Mjolnir.
Oh, yeah, that too.
But here is, while I love like narratively and like just what it is, the scene and everything, I love it. I just don't really understand from a time travel perspective.
No.
Early in the film, they established changing the past does not change the future of this timeline. But apparently, when Steve travels back in time and stays there, apparently he's here as an old man. That does not add up with the rules that they themselves established in the same film. So that's a little bit of that's more than just a nitpick. I'd say that's a pretty big oversight, unless I'm misunderstanding something here. I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to give the film another watch.
Right.
Probably later this week.
Yeah. I just can't make sense of that myself.
Either way, it was a great scene.
Absolutely. I think we can definitely agree on that.
Where he passes the torch.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Although, considering that the name of the show is Falcon and Winter Soldier, he might not keep it.
He better.
Yeah.
Like, that was a gift from Captain fucking America. Come on.
Well, he may keep it, but will he use it?
Okay, yeah,
that's true.
That's yeah, right.
That's a better way to put it.
Like, nah, trash this shit.
Well, I guess what I meant was keep using it.
Right. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
For my time for my time travel issue there, I was just gonna add like one last thing. Like, one thing that could be an explanation for why it happened the way it did, I could see being that maybe when they established the rules earlier in the film, maybe they didn't understand time travel to its fullest. Maybe they were wrong about something, and maybe I don't know.
They even had like a reference dump at the before they went and did time travel themselves.
Right. But yeah, like,
so Back
maybe
to the Future is wrong or something like that. I don't
right.
remember.
Exactly. So maybe time travel doesn't work exactly the way they said it did, and because of that, Cap somehow appeared as an old man here in this timeline.
But what I really loved about this movie, what I truly loved about it, was both its beginning and its end scene, with just the camera panning into the house with Captain America and Peggy Carter dancing.
I loved that as well, and I was also happy they did that little like the very last little scene there to see just to see that he was actually there. Like, just hearing about it wouldn't be quite enough.
Yeah,
the fact
I definitely agree with that.
Right. Yeah. So the fact that they let us actually see it too was very, very nice. Yeah. And something about the deaths of this film, not Scarlett Johansson, but Natasha Romanoff and Tony Stark. I feel like they're both very similar deaths in the sense that they were both sacrifices. They both, as they died, they knew they were going to die doing what they did, but they did it to save the world.
Yep.
And I don't know. Maybe deaths aren't always like that, but the fact that both of them were in this film, I feel like it kind of mirrors each other in a way, quite nicely.
Yeah.
And they were also two of the. I think she was introduced in Iron Man 2, right?
Yeah.
So
yes,
they'd been together for a long time, both of those characters,
Yep.
and yeah.
So overall, what are your thoughts on this movie, and then where would you rank it on your list?
I don't know where I'd rank it on my list of MCU films or superhero films in general, or even films in general. But
I'm mainly talking about MCU films.
okay, MCU films.
Yeah,
it'd probably rank in the top 5 for me.
I think it will for most people, because it's really something amazing. I think Avengers Endgame is a perfect celebration of the MCU as a whole up until this point.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's really what it is. It just lifts up everything great about the MCU, and I don't know, it's a celebration. So it's more than just a film in a way.
It's my favorite MCU movie. It is.
Fair
without
enough.
a doubt for me.
That's absolutely fair. For me,
It is also the most movie.
well, yeah, you get a lot of minutes from it.
There's so much movie in this movie.
I don't know exactly, because I think after my first watch of it, I put it as my 5th favorite MCU film, I think. After my second view, I put it as my 2nd favorite. And right now, I'm torn. Maybe it's my absolute favorite, but I'm not quite sure.
What's in your number 1 spot?
My number 1 spot is Black Panther.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe it's beating it. Maybe it's not. It's a really, really tough choice for me.
Yeah.
But yeah. As we
Well, I
established,
think that's all I had to say on the matter.
Yeah. So, beyond this film, what do you think is going to be its legacy, and what films do you think will come out of this next phase 4 of the MCU?
I mean, out of what we know already,
Yeah.
no idea.
Or what films do you want to come out of it, I guess?
I don't know. Honestly, the thing about this is they didn't set up a whole lot of anything.
Yeah.
So I just want to see what Kevin Feige has for us.
Yeah.
I don't really care what it is. I'm just curious at this point.
I mostly want them to surprise us.
Yeah.
Give us a hero we weren't expecting to see. Give us a story we weren't expecting to hear. You know?
Right.
Yeah, something that I think is in the works to some extent anyway is a Chang-Chi film,
Yes.
Yeah, I believe I've heard that too.
which
That's
I'm very happy about that idea, and I think
am
it would
as
be
well,
really
yeah.
really cool. It would be because I feel like the last couple films, or at least like the last bit of this phase 3 there's been a lot of films that have been very large scale, like outer
Yeah.
space stories, like a lot of those sorts of things. So going back down to earth some more, I think would be very nice. And I think with Spider-Man doing very well, I think for him to kind of not necessarily lead the quote unquote new Avengers or something like that, but for at least for him as a concept or as a franchise to lead MCU for a bit now.
I think
I
Kevin
think would make
Feige
sense.
said that Captain Marvel would do that.
I don't see her as a franchise. Like, the Captain Marvel films aren't good enough to lead the MCU.
I don't either, but those are his words, not mine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I could see her as a character because she's a leader. She could do something like that, but I'm more talking like as a franchise. I think Spider-Man could be like a good kind of like a guide in a way for some
But so
films.
far, the movies that have been announced are Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, and I think a Black Widow movie as well.
Yep, there's a Black Widow movie with
Oh, and
a few
Guardians
people
3.
have actually been cast in it already, so that's definitely happening.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Guardians 3, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
That includes Thor.
After that whole drama bit.
Yes. But other than
Yeah.
that, we don't know anything else.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't
now.
think we will be getting any of the Fox franchises until Phase 5.
Feige said that that's not in the 5-year plan.
Right, so I guess
He has
Phase
right
5 would make sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who knows? Things could change.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, even 5 years ago, the movies they announced changed. So
They certainly
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. But there was something else that I was going to say. But yeah, Kevin Feige said that those are because they couldn't even work or theorize about the Fox characters because that would have been illegal to do.
yeah,
But now they can. But obviously, he
Yeah.
made this plan before the deal went through. Finally,
yeah.
so
So we'll be seeing what happens with them and the other Marvel characters within the next 5 years, I guess.
Yeah, we live in exciting times, I think, as far as
Yeah.
these films are concerned. And just talking a little bit about the original Avengers, most of them are done for now. Obviously, Tony
Yeah.
and Nat, they're done. As Clint is most likely done. You know, he's going to settle down. And Cap, of course, is also done. But I don't think Thor and
Clint's
Hulk
not
are
done 'cause of the
necessarily...
TV show.
Right. He's got the TV show. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I really did do a good job swallowing that excitement because I had completely forgotten about it. But we got Thor and Hulk as well. And I could see
Yeah.
those two characters, you know, they're still going strong.
Oh yeah, I think we'll definitely see more of them.
The problem with Hulk is if Marvel were to make a Hulk movie, or a movie with Hulk being the main focus of that movie, they can't distribute it. because Universal has the distribution rights.
Yes.
In the same vein that Sony distributes the Spider-Man movies. So, will they make a new Hulk movie? No. I don't think so.
Definitely not, I believe.
Yeah, no, but
they definitely don't want Universal to distribute the movie.
I don't necessarily want a Hulk film though. Like, I to me, it's perfectly fine if he just keeps on appearing in other, other characters' films, like he did with Thor Ragnarok, for example, and the
right
Avengers
now,
films.
We don't
of course.
really have a good window for him to appear again, with what movies we've known about.
Yeah, and I think moving on with these Avengers, Thor, depending on whether or not whether the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 takes place before or after Infinity War / Endgame, depending on that, maybe Thor will appear in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean,
I sure hope so.
If it takes place after
sure
Endgame,
hope so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
By the way, that was, I think, my favorite scene as far as like comedy goes. The last scene with Star-Lord and Thor. Like, oh my god, that was probably like the funniest scene to me. Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's time to wrap this up. So This has been Patrick and Petter
Yes.
and Steven.
Yep.
And this has been The Third Wheel.